Welcome to Yoga Hour. My name is Brittany. This is Stella. The word of the day is nostalgia. Nostalgia is a wistful longing for the past, and I have heard that this Mercury retrograde from October to early November 2020 has to do with nostalgia. And so if people from your past are reaching out to you, that could be why. And when I think of nostalgia, I think of my childhood. I think of memories that might not be from my childhood, but just great memories that I can hold on to with any type of person or situation or place, and it gives me a nice remembering of who I used to be, and it also reminds me that the past is not a place that I want to stay. I want to keep moving forward. So today in your practice, there may be some poses that we do. Hello, Millie. There may be some poses that we do that will remind you of childhood. Child's pose, for example, not because of the name, but just the nature of the pose, and we're going to get into that very quickly in the sequence. That's a pose that I always feel nostalgia in because it's a very childlike pose. You see babies sleeping in child's pose. And so it feels good to have some nostalgia in your body and in your poses. It feels good to me. So maybe it will feel good to you as well. And I hope that you can use these poses to deepen your practice. And over time, you'll have nostalgia with your practice. I remember when many of these poses were extremely difficult for me. And over the years, I've gotten better. So with that, let's practice. Come to a comfortable seat and either place your palms in your lap face up or place them at heart center. We're going to start with one round of the sound Om, and you can join in or just listen. So inhale for Om. Lower your hands, and let's start today in a tabletop. So come on to your hands and knees, arms, upper legs straight up and down. Look at your hands and make sure they are as wide or even wider than your shoulders. Sometimes if you have wrist problems, it helps to keep your hands a little bit wider. And point your index finger straight ahead, separate your fingers evenly, and line up your knees underneath your hips. Now take an inhale, and as you inhale, round your back, allow your head to drop, keep your abdomen muscles engaged, and breathe in this position. On your next exhale, bring your head and your hips up as you drop your belly down while still maintaining that tone. And then inhale into cow pose. Exhale, lift up. I'm sorry, that one was cat. This is cow. Inhale for cat pose. Exhale for cow. And do that a couple more times with the rhythm of your own breath. And now that you have your back warmed up, take your ankles and bring them to touch and move your knees as wide as the mat. Now sit back onto your heels, or you might want to keep your legs together, and that might feel better for your low back. I'm going to keep mine wide and then walk my hands forward and allow my head to drop for child's pose. I remember when my son was young and he was in his crib and I would find him sleeping like this. And I thought, how do they do that? And now he knows a little baby who does the same thing. Nostalgia. Breathe in this pose. Relax the weight of your head. If you don't feel comfortable resting your head on your mat, then fold your arms in and allow your head to rest on your hands. You want to relax the weight of your neck. And just enjoy the stretch. And then bring your hands forward and lift your hips and bring your knees back underneath your hips. Place your hands at the top of your mat. Again, separate your fingers evenly, point your index finger straight ahead, and now curl your toes under and send your hips up for our first down dog. As this is our first down dog of the day, feel free to pedal it out if that's what feels good in your body. Move your hips from side to side maybe, bend your knees one at a time maybe, or you might want to feel free to hold your down dog in a still position. Breathe where you are, and on your next exhale, rock yourself forward so that your body is over, your shoulders are over your wrists. And hold here for a plank pose. Lower your knees if you need to for more support, and breathe. In plank pose, you want to tone your thighs in towards each other, engage your glutes, press your tailbone down, and keep your abdomen muscles toned. Exhale, lower down onto your belly, and place your arms alongside your torso with your palms pointed up. Bring your ankles to touch, point your toes, lift your kneecaps, and squeeze your shoulders together on your back as you look forward. With your next inhale, lift your chest up one more place as you press your feet and your hands into the floor for locust one. Continue to breathe as you keep squeezing your shoulders together on your back and maintaining the tone in your thighs. And then exhale, lower down. Place your palms at the front of your mat. Keep your ankles together, but take your toes and curl them under. Lift up into a plank position and then back into down dog, but keep your ankles together. So this is down dog, ankles together, believe it or not. And breathe in this position. Allow your head to hang heavy. And you may need to bend your knees to send your hips up a little bit further. Then straighten your legs again and try to lower your heels a little to the floor. I still can't lower my heels all the way to the floor in down dog. And that's perfectly fine. Then rock forward into a plank one more time. Hold for just a second and breathe. And then lower your knees and come into a standing position. Exhale and lower down for forward fold. Bend your knees so that your ribs and thighs touch and press the floor away from you with your hands. Inhale, halfway lift to a flat back position. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, sweep your arms all the way up into a standing mountain pose. Press your feet firmly into the floor and take a nice inhale. And exhale, lower into mountain pose. Sit back on your heels and lift your toes. See if you can separate them. Place them back down on the mat and maybe rock forward and backward until you find the center of your feet. And stay steady there for a second while you breathe. Okay, now we're going to go into a lunge position. with our back knee lowered. So take your right foot and place it at the front of your mat and frame your hands around your foot, and then take your left knee and move it back just a little bit so that you have a nice vertical position in your shin and you're getting a stretch. You might need to adjust a little more, but breathe here wherever you are and feel the stretch in your quads, in your hips. And then exhale, take your right leg back and move your left leg forward. Again, you want your shin in a vertical position. You can move your back knee back a little bit and frame your front foot and breathe here. Move your hands forward as you step your knee back, curl your toes under, and again, we're going to go up into a downward facing dog. This time, your feet can be hip width apart, or you can bring your ankles together. It's your choice. Exhale and rock forward into a plank pose. Hold plank or do 1 to 5 push-ups. Do not forget your breath. Keep your body firm and keep your breath flowing. And exhale, lower down. Again, bring your arms alongside your torso with your palms pointing up, ankles to touch. Point your feet, lift your kneecaps, squeeze your shoulders together on your back, lift your chin and look forward. And with your inhale, lift your hands and your feet. As you continue to keep your shoulders squeezed together on your back and your thighs engaged. Exhale, lower down. Place your hands at the top of your mat. Curl your toes under. Lift up into a plank position and send your hips back for down dog. Breathe. And then walk your feet to the middle of your mat and walk your hands back to your feet for another forward fold. On your next inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower down. And then walk your hands forward and your feet back to go back into down dog. From here, inhale, lift your right leg up and back. And exhale, bend your knee and step through for a lunge. You can lower your back knee or keep it lifted. Either way, lift your torso and place your hands on your hips. This is lunge, hands on hips. We're so creative with yoga hour. And breathe. You might want to tilt your right knee out a little bit so it's pointed more towards your pinky toe. Keep your legs strong. Squeeze your front thigh and back thigh in towards each other. And make sure your hips are square. So bring your left foot forward and right hip back. Exhale, lower down. Step back into down dog. And inhale, send your left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through for your lunge. Make sure your front shin is vertical to the floor. Either lower your back knee or keep it lifted. Either way. Inhale your torso upright. Place squeeze your shoulders together on your back and place your elbows a little bit back with your hands on your hips. Don't lose sight of your breath. Exhale, lower down, and step back into down dog. We're going to do that round one more time with one small change. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, step through for a lunge. back knee lowered or lifted. And then this time, inhale, send your arms up overhead. You might want to widen your arms out to the side to give space for your shoulders. You can bring your arms together. If you want more of a challenge, you can bring your hands together to touch overhead. And exhale, lower down, come back into down dog. Inhale, send your left leg up and back. And exhale, step through for a lunge, back knee lowered or lifted. And then inhale, send your arms overhead for high lunge. Breathe, move your ribs back, tone your low belly muscles. Exhale, lower down, step back into down dog. Make sure that your hands haven't come closer together in the process. And then lower down onto your knees and come back into a tabletop. Make sure that your knees are hip width apart and your hands are shoulder width apart. And point your index finger straight ahead. Now, with your next inhale, lift your right arm straight ahead and then lift your left leg straight back behind you. Press down into the floor evenly with your right knee, right shin, right foot, and left hand, and then extend your right arm, left leg out in opposite directions. Continue to breathe. Exhale, lower down. Next side, lift your left arm out in front of you. Right leg back behind you. Breathe in this position. I just had another nostalgic memory. My childhood best friend and I used to make handmade milkshakes. And by hand, I mean lower your hand and leg. We did not use a blender. That was what made them special. They were called shake shakes. Hi, Carolyn, if you're watching. All right, now we're gonna come into mountain pose. Bring your feet together, arms alongside, and inhale, lift your chest and press down into the earth with your feet and feel your weight being supported. This is a nice rest. Before we get back to it. So again, we're coming into down dog. So hands at the top of your mat, feet at the back of your mat. Bend your knees, push those hips up, and then maybe straighten your legs. And breathe here. Exhale, send your right leg up and back. That was an inhale. Send it forward for your lunge. Now rotate your left foot so that it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. And then, if you can, interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back. If all of this is too much, just keep your hands here. You need to do what's safe for you. Interlace your fingers behind your back if you want to go further. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back. Round your back. Send your hands up toward the ceiling as you continue to squeeze your shoulders together on your back. Press down evenly in your feet with your front thigh parallel to the floor. And exhale, separate your hands, frame your front foot, turn your back heel up again, and step back into your down dog. I like to bring my ankles together when I'm about to go into three-legged dog. Inhale, send your left leg up and back. And then exhale, step through for your lunge. Spin your back heel down. I'm gonna switch sides for you. Bend your back heel down, line up your front heel with your back arch. And if you want to stay here, then please do. If you want to go further, take your hands, interlace them behind your back. Maybe do the opposite thumb cross, so the non-dominant hand on top. And then bring your shoulders together on your back as you lower your head and lift your arms for no-handed lunge on the second side. And breathe here, pressing down evenly in your feet. And then exhale, turn your feet parallel to each other and stay low, because we're gonna go into a wide leg forward fold. This is another nostalgic pose. Remember doing this in gym class as part of your stretching? You're on one leg and then the other leg. All right, so from here, place your hands in front of you, and you might want to stay here with a flat back. If it's accessible to you, walk your hands back in between your feet, and then just allow your head to hang heavy. If your head wants to touch the floor, press down and forward with your hands and roll forward a little bit and allow your head to just rest on the floor with your elbows pointing back behind you and your fingers pointing straight ahead. Now walk your hands forward if they're not there already, and lift your chest, and then bend over into one side. So it's just a bending of the knee and then walking of the hands over, and feel that stretch. And then we're gonna do the other side. So straighten this leg and then bend the opposite one. I didn't give you a right or left because I'm allowing you to choose. It really doesn't matter. Stretching the insides of our hamstrings. And then back to center. And toe, heel, or heel toe, your feet together. Come into a forward fold. Lift halfway with your back flat, and then forward fold again. And then inhale your arms overhead and reach up high. Exhale, lower your hands by your side. And now we're going to go into tree pose. So take your right foot, lift your heel, and either place it at the root of your left, well, not the root, but place your right heel on the top of your left ankle. If you would like to work on balance, lift your right ankle, hold it with your right hand inside your leg, and place it at the root of your inner thigh. Now your hands can be free to go wherever you would like them to go. You can move your arms around, you can keep them still, your choice. Make sure that your right knee is pointed out to the side, and press your foot into your thigh and your thigh into your foot. And stand up straight and tall, because you are a tree right now. Nostalgia, imagination. Be a tree. Be a tree. Exhale, lower down. Take your left heel. Either let it rest on your right ankle at the top of it, or pick up your ankle, place it at the root of your inner thigh, move your left knee out to the side, press your foot into your thigh into your foot, and then inhale your arms overhead. You can place them in front of heart center. You can place your hands on your hips. You can be a wavy tree. If you fall out, that's great. You can always come back in. And when you are complete, lower your foot to the floor and come back into a wide stance. Turn your heels out slightly so they're the widest part of your pose, and then we're gonna do something different. Turn your right toes out so that they're perpendicular to the short edge of your mat. Now bend your right knee so that your left leg is straight, your heel is slightly wider than your little toe, and turn your right knee out so that it's more pointed towards your pinky toe. And extend your arms out in opposite directions, and then look to your right side or the side that your knee is out on, and look over those fingertips. This is warrior 2. Breathe here. Hold your pose firm and strong. And then inhale to straighten your front leg, and then send your hips back behind you as you lower your torso and place your fingertips on the floor, or maybe hold your shin and stack your top arm on top for triangle. You can look down, out, or up. Make sure your shoulders are stacked. You don't want your top arm way behind you. And then inhale, come up. You can lower your arms. Turn your right foot parallel to your left. Point your heel out slightly wider than your little toe. And turn your left foot out 90 degrees. Bend your left knee over your left foot. See if you can get your knee right above your ankle. And then extend your arms in opposite directions and gaze over your left fingertips. Keep your back straight and strong. Keep your abdomen toned and tight. And press down evenly in your feet as you breathe throughout the pose. Inhale, straighten your front leg, and then send your hips back behind you as you lower down and either rest your hand on your shin or place your hand outside your front foot, and maybe even just place the tips of your fingers on the floor so you can balance a little bit better. Stack your shoulders, look down, out, or up, and breathe. And exhale with your arm down. Keep your torso down, and again, make your feet parallel, and again, walk your hands out in front of you so that you are in a wide forward fold. Either stay here or walk your hands back again. You can lower your head again if you would like. All of this is your choice, your practice. And then heel, toe, your feet together. And you'll be in a forward fold for just a second before you inhale. Your arms up overhead. Place your palms together and then bring them down to heart center. Okay, now come to a seat in the middle of your mat. And lie down on your back and place your feet in front of your hips, and then grab the outer edges of your mat. One at a time, walk your shoulders underneath you so that your shoulders are again squeezed together on your back. And then with your inhale, send your hips up and then lift your chin out of your chest so that the back of your head is on the floor rather than the base of your skull. Continue to lift your hips as you tone your abdomen, and I really meant to say squeeze your thighs in together, but tone your abdomen came out. So you can keep a slight tone in your abdomen, but focus on squeezing your thighs in towards each other without making them touch. Exhale, lower down. And now come over onto your belly. This next pose is a little difficult, so if you would like to just rest your forehead on your hands, please do that. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty big back bend. So bend your knees and keep your knees behind you about hip width apart. Flex your feet or point your feet, and then grab your ankles with your hands. You can stay here, or if you want to go for the strengthening of the pose instead of just the stretch, inhale and lift your legs as you continue to squeeze your thighs together as we did in the last pose. Lift your chest, look straight ahead. This is called bow pose. This is another pose I feel like kids do a lot. Ooh. Exhale, lower down. All right, couple more poses. Place your hands in front of your chest, curl your toes under, lift up into a quick plank as you're transitioning into down dog again. Breathe in this pose, pedal it out again. See if your body feels any different. And then walk your right hand a handprint forward and roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. Take your left foot and place it in front of your right with your knee and your toes pointing straight ahead. Maybe you stack your arms. Breathe here. And then exhale, bring your foot back together and place your left arm down and come back into down dog. I'm going to do it on the other side so you can see. Hello, Stella. Okay, place your left hand forward a handprint. Roll onto the outer edge of your left foot. Take your right foot and place it, use it as a kickstand in front of your left leg. Bend your knee, point your thigh and your toes towards the front, and then maybe stack your shoulders, look down, out, or up. Don't forget to breathe. Then bring your right foot on top of your left as you come back into down dog. Bend your knees and walk your feet forward and walk your hands back. Come into standing. Now, interlace, let me move this. Interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulders together on your back, and step your feet together. Then bend your knees, sort of straighten your arms, maybe straighten your arms, don't straighten your arms, or do straighten your arms, but keep your shoulders together on your back. And bend your knees so that you sit back on your heels, round your back, and lift your arms toward the sky, and breathe. Continue to tone your abdomen. Sit back on your heels, and then exhale, lower down, and then come into a squatting position. Tell me you don't see kids do this all the time. Widen your knees so that your arms can go inside, and keep your heels lifted if you want to. If you want to sit back on them, that's going to make it more difficult, but be my guest. Do whatever feels good to you. And you can stay here in this squatting position, or walk your hands forward and fold your head in between your hands and allow your back to stretch as you sit back further on your heels. Okay, from here, sit back onto your bottoms and stretch your feet out in front of you and point your toes forward. Point your toes up at the ceiling. Place your hands back behind your hips. Point your thumbs out and your fingers behind you. And curve your low back in and lift your chest. And breathe. Imagine that something is lifting you up by the top of your head. There's a string coming out of the top of your head. So you're sitting up very straight and tall as you breathe into all of your cells. Now bend your knees and hold on to your feet. And then maybe walk your heels out a little bit until you get the stretch that you want in your back. Maybe in your legs too. Round your back wherever you are. And then sit up and come down onto your back again. Lift your hips up and over to the left, and then let your knees fall to the right. You can take your right foot and place it on top of your left knee if you need more of a stretch, or just keep it on the ground. Extend your arms out to either side, or maybe try robot or cactus arms, and then look in the opposite direction of where your legs are. All right, now lift your knees, bring your hips back to center. Lift them again and move them over about 4 inches to the right, and allow your knees to fall over to the left side. You can choose to place your left foot on top of your right knee or thigh and look in the opposite direction. Place your feet back on the floor, shift your hips back to center, and lift your feet and wrap your arms around your thighs and shins to give yourself a hug, and rock side to side. You don't have to if that doesn't feel good for you. You might just choose to be still, giving yourself a hug. Thank yourself for practicing today. And then extend your legs out in front of you and allow your arms to fall by your sides for Shavasana. This pose is where we rest and receive all the benefits of practice. So I'm going to stop talking and allow you to enjoy yourself. Thank you for practicing with me.